Donald Trump's tariff yo-yo has set the global economy into a tailspin, and it is only getting worse from here. Currently, the tariff rates that we have on a lot of these countries are hard for us to even comprehend and report back to you because it is so difficult to stay up to date on these things.
I heard something earlier today that Trump has put in over 95 new tariff executive actions since he has been inaugurated.
That is unbelievable.
It's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. And so we have 145% tariffs on China. We have 10% across the board tariffs on all countries. And then we have higher rates of tariffs on specific goods like aluminum, steel, automobiles, a bunch of other
Auto
things.
parts, yes, like goods made out of aluminum and steel as well.
Yes.
We also recently got like additional fees that are being imposed on Chinese-built ships or fleets from ship makers that have a lot of Chinese-built ships. So the ability to get stuff into America at a low cost is being eroded enormously.
Eroded enormously. How are we knowing that? Well, we can look at the Los Angeles port data. And from the Los Angeles port data, we see that traffic into the Los Angeles port, the biggest port in the United States, is down 60%. 6-0. These things, without having these things, we are going to see empty shelves in the summers.
Yeah.
On basic things that you would never think that we would be short of.
Sure.
Because we've been supplied from them by China.
Yes.
And then you have to think about all of the related jobs, all of the truck drivers that took the things from the Los Angeles ports into the Walmart inside of Des Moines, Iowa. All of those jobs are now going to be in danger because we don't have the things to transport anymore. And this is going to slow down economic activity rapidly over the coming quarters. Quarter 1 of 2025 looks like it's going to be okay, not good. We're going to see an economic slowdown. We are going to see less capital expenditure investment. That is true. But consumers have front ran the hell out of a lot of these tariffs.
Yeah.
Before the auto tariffs rolled onto full effect onto the 25% rate, Americans bought a ton of cars. A ton of cars. Manufacturers and dealerships have done the same. Manufacturers have front-loaded parts, front-loaded cars. Dealerships have front-loaded cars.
Yep.
They've all done this. If we look at the manufacturing index data for the month of March, we see that manufacturing and purchasing durable good growth went up 10%.
Yeah.
If you take out transportation, it grew 0% because all of the manufacturing industry was trying to front run those auto tariffs. And so that will likely boost up the quarter 1 GDP numbers. That will not happen in quarter 2. That will not happen in quarter 3. Trump knows this. He sees the volatility in the market. And I think he's scared.
Oh yeah, he's definitely scared. He admitted that the volatility of the bond market is kind of what led him to pull back on the more massive reciprocal tariffs and just cut it down to a 10% across the board tariff. You said it gets worse from here. I agree with you that it gets worse in the economy. I don't have any confidence as to whether the tariffs grow or shrink, and I would actually lean towards that they shrink.
I also lean that they shrink. I don't think he ratchets these things up. He said that those reciprocal tariffs he put on Liberation Day, or as others have called it, Liquidation Day, were only paused for 90 days if he doesn't get deals with the relative countries. There's no way you get 90 deals done in the 90 days that the pause was. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, that's insane. Like these deals take long months of negotiation.
The fastest we have ever negotiated a trade deal was 18 months.
That is hilarious that he thinks that he's then going to be able to do one a day for 90 days. And of course, he's been unable to do that, as seen by our negotiations with Japan.
Yeah.
Japan is like one of our greatest allies. And Shinzo Abe, back in the first Trump administration, basically took a stick up his ass and signed a bad trade deal with Trump, just so that he could stay on the good side of the United States for long-term cooperation.
Yep.
Trump reneged on the deal.
Yeah.
And so now he goes back to Japan and he's like, "Hey, Japan, buy our rice." He knew one of the things that he asked Japan
Yeah.
was to buy more of our rice.
Yeah.
We're asking Japan to buy our rice? That's what we're so concerned about?
Well, it is more things. We're also definitely, I would be shocked if we weren't doing this. Asking them to pay maybe directly into the treasury, if not to like subsidize our bonds, to keep military bases there.
Yeah.
Whereas Japan is probably like, you get just as much, if not more,
Out of these
of
things.
those than we do. So, and that's when I imagine Trump is going back and he's like, oh fuck, they're right.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, I didn't even realize, but yeah, that's true.
Oh, that's actually a really good point. Oh, damn it.
Yes. And so like the negotiations with Japan are in the headlines for a few days, and they're like, we're making great progress. And the Japanese are like, nothing's really happening. And also, we don't want the military involvement to be on the table. We see the trade and military issues as separate.
Two separate
and
things.
then they fade off the headlines, and it's been 3 or 4 or 5 days, and we haven't heard anything about it.
Members of the Japanese parliament are like giving raving speeches, ragging on the Trump administration directly, saying like, you better not make a deal. This is bull. We're getting pushed around.
Yeah.
You're just disrespecting our honor and all this. And it's like, Trump, what have you done? What have you done? You've made Japan hate us. You made Japan hate us so much that they had joint cooperation economic meetings between South Korea, China, and Japan. Has that ever happened?
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. I'm so glad, because that happened before. I don't think that's ever happened. That happened before we got into negotiation. I think before we even put the tariffs on.
Yes, I think that Japan was already nervous and was hedging their bets by looking at the Chinese for global leadership.
Yes, and that is exactly what I expect.
Yeah.
I expect what we are doing. I mean, what we're doing to both Europe and Japan, but more so Japan, is putting them in a neutral position. They're in a Vietnam-like position now.
They're joining the non-aligned faction.
Yes.
We're pushing them towards the non-aligned faction.
Yes.
When we had such great relationships and we weren't even getting ripped off by the Japanese in a lot of instances.
No,
in
not
most,
at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
And they're geographically like OP. Like their geography is so important to be positioned with and to have them on our side. It is crazy to destroy this deal, this alliance, this relationship that you got a good deal out of Shinzo Abe years ago.
Only a few years ago, and it was under Trump. It was Trump's own deal. And so then we have then China's meeting now with Vietnam, getting deals done with Vietnam.
Yes.
Vietnam and China have been at war since literally like the first human was on the planet. Vietnamese people were killing Chinese people since like the very first spot a human ever entered the region. They were killing each other. And now for some reason, Donald Trump has determined that it's in the best interest of the United States to make Vietnam and China more economically cooperate. We had such good relationships with Vietnam, and Trump has messed it up so much so that Vietnam says, we're going to get rid of all of our tariffs. They didn't even have that many tariffs. But said, we're going to get rid of all the tariffs. And then Trump said, that's really great. Thank you. Walked away and kept the tariffs that we put on them. We kept the 10% flat rate. Vietnam's like, wait, where are you going? What are you doing? We just did that thing.
Yes, and also not even saying that the reciprocal tariffs aren't going to go back on.
Yes.
He was like, oh, that's nice, and now I guess we can start the negotiations.
Yes. It's like, oh, that's great. I'm so glad you gave that to me. What else are you going to give me? What are you talking about? What are we doing here? Donald Trump is going to destroy this fucking country.
Vietnam has been literally like our number one China plus one
Yes.
the place that we are going to get stuff so that we don't need to get it from China. It is so important to the idea of a future where we aren't dependent on China, and we're just saying fuck you.
We're just saying fuck you. And so I think when I hear these financial analysts talk, everyone says 60% chance of recession, 45% chance of recession. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's accurate. It's a 60% chance of Trump keeping the tariff rates as they are. Mm-hmm. If they stay where they are, it's 100% chance of recession. That's the calculation that these guys. This was said on Bloomberg.
Okay.
That's what the J.P. Morgan economist said.
Okay.
He was like, "We're really making a guess of how likely it is that these tariffs stay on.
Got it.
Over the next couple months. If they do stay on, it's 100% chance of recession. If they don't stay on, then we're in better shape. And I put a 60% chance that the tariff rates stay the same.
Do you agree with the 40% chance that the tariffs go down?
No.
I think that's at least 80-20.
You think
right?
20% they go down?
Yeah.
Okay, so then this is when it gets interesting, okay? Trump is a little fucking stupid bitch, and he is feeling the heat. Mm-hmm. And in response to feeling the heat, he came on TV and was like, 145, it's too high. He's like, I don't know who made it that high.
Yeah.
Whoever did that's an idiot.
I saw that.
But we're not going to make it 145 anymore. It's going to be much lower than 145. It's not going to be zero.
Yeah.
You know, but it'll be higher than zero. It'll be less than 145. What is it going to be at? I don't know. And then the Wall Street Journal released a report. Maybe he was suggesting a 35% flat rate coming out of China.
Okay.
And then exceptions for other critical components, whatever that means. They'll mean that, whatever it is. But that 35% rate is still massive. That will likely cause recession.
Okay.
So
this makes sense though. Like that makes sense as far as I can see the tariffs on China going down.
Yeah.
I don't see the 10% flat rate.
No, I don't see the 10% flat rate,
which is damaging.
Either.
And again, the confidence and the stability attack, like the disintegration of those things, will affect consumption, as well as the stock market's decline, which I expect to wipe a large percentage of consumption off the board in these coming quarters
because of the wealth effect and all that. People are much more likely to spend money when they see their 401k going up.
Yes.
So I agree with you there. The market has obviously rebounded over the last week, but it will rebound and it will go back down. And it's not. Look at it at the trend, guys. We know where we're going here. And I don't know. Do you think that he lowers the China tariffs before he starts negotiations with China? Like, do you think he makes a unilateral action to say, you know what, we'll lower it to 100 before he even makes the phone call?
Yeah.
You don't think that makes him look too much like a bitch?
I think it does, but I don't think he'll have another choice.
Yeah, I agree
think
with
China has too much leverage.
Yeah. This is another conversation I had with my dad, who's a Trump supporter. And he basically says, China needs us to buy our stuff. I'm like, to buy their stuff. I'm like, Dad, wouldn't you rather be the country with too much stuff than the country with not enough stuff? Wouldn't you much rather be the country making too many things?
Yeah.
Isn't that a way better problem to have and an easier problem to solve? The answer is yes.
I think it is, but I've also looked into this, and the issue of China, like trying to boost their consumption, does not seem like it should be that hard, but has been hard for decades now.
Yeah.
They've been saying they've wanted to do it for decades. They haven't done it for decades. I'm not sure how much we should believe that they've actually wanted to do it for decades. But there are technical issues that get in the way. I still feel like it would be easier for them to do, but I also think that they'll keep dumping shit on the rest of the world.
Do you think there's any assumption that they're not playing by the capital rules that determine whether or not it's successful or not?
What do you mean?
There is some semblance of a communist philosophy at the heart of the People's Republic of China, right? And so, do they really care about the capital methods of success? When we say that they would be in danger, it's their companies not being able to make enough profit because the Chinese government can't take enough debt load to give consumers more spending power to then buy the goods that the companies were producing. But now you're defining all of this mode of distribution on the capital market, which if they just say, we're not going to care about the capital market domestically, we're just going to distribute the goods and do the thing.
They need to care about the capital market because it's the mechanism by which they can distribute the goods. And
foreignly, I guess also,
internally too.
Okay.
So it's and to think of a system that does not use the money is much, much, much harder.
Yes.
So, and I don't think they have the capacity. Like, I don't think they could figure that out.
Okay,
so
I understand
need
that.
to figure out how to distribute the money.
Yes. Okay.
Domestically in a way.
Yeah.
Yes, that it would work. That they can still get the resources out using the money.
Yes. Okay. No, I understand that, and I think you're right.
Yeah.
I just don't know where Trump goes from here. I think he has to pull down the tariffs on China. I don't think he's going to have a choice. We're going to have massive supply shortages.
The one other thing I'll say is there's the political consideration of, Trump doesn't want to look like a bitch, but he's already starting to look more like a bitch because he's already coming out and be like, this is too much. It's kind of ridiculous. He's already walking back things. I think the stronger political boundary here is Xi Jinping not wanting to seem like a bitch. Not wanting to seem like America's little brother.
Yes.
Wanting to seem like the up-and-coming roaring tiger.
And that's why Xi is just not going to make the phone call.
Exactly.
It's not going to happen. Trump is going to have no choice. Now, they're playing a game of phone tag, or phone chicken, rather, because both of them have this ideology and exist on
Yep.
this spectrum of strongman leadership. And when you live in that, you can never be the one to make the first phone call. You can never be the one to surrender. You can never be the one to get beaten in any avenue.
Yeah.
You know?
And yet it's so clear that the U.S. is the weaker one because the press secretary of the White House is coming out and being like, we're looking like we're in a really good shape for trade negotiations with China. There's been no contact.
China has come out and said we have not talked with the United States at all.
Yeah.
And so the press secretary is lying to save face. The Trump administration is scared, and they should be scared. They have fast tracked a recession into this country.
Yeah.
He has already overseen the worst stock market performance of any new president in history. He has overseen the worst Dow Jones of a month of April since 1932. His approval rating is plummeting faster than most presidents. Any president other than himself in the first term. Independents only approve of him by around 27%.
Yeah.
He's already struggling, and I don't think he can handle a recession with public opinion. His entire base of support is centered around, he's an asshole, he's mean to people, he's bad, he's a terrible person, but he makes good deals and he's good for the economy. Well, if you make no deals and you're bad for the economy and you're an asshole, I don't think you stand up.